104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. Joining us now, Jordan Palmer. Now, Jordan, I have to thank you first off. A friend of mine made good money on you at UTEP. I'm just saying.
Yeah, by not covering the spread.
Well, no, but you were in
you guys, you probably took the over/under on touchdown or on interceptions. That's why I had a buddy on my team who's a deep snapper. I can say this now because he's, it was a long time ago though. But he told me after my sophomore year that he won a bunch of money taking the over on interceptions with me, and he was my roommate. Because he said, worst case scenario, you're not going to throw any, we're going to win. If you turn it over, we're going to lose, and I'm going to be up. It was hilarious.
I mean, you never had bad numbers.
No, but I turned it. I played in a system in college where it was like we never handed the ball off.
Right.
It was the first spread system.
It was you. It was all you.
It was Texas Tech and it was Mike Price.
Right.
That was it. Nowadays, you know what I mean? Like, so I was behind the 8 ball. Now everybody's behind the 8 ball when they transition to the league. So, yeah, we didn't hand it off a whole lot, and the system was, if you like it, you can go here, or maybe you can go there, and if this guy's open, pops. And so there weren't a lot of reads. So every year I threw a ton of touchdowns and a ton of picks.
Jordan Palmer with us now.
But we should definitely not waste our time talking about my playing career for sure.
But I mean, but it is interesting because, like, you're kind of making a joke of it. You didn't end up being an elite quarterback, but at the same time, you're like one of the top quarterback coaches. How does that transition happen? When do you realize, I know what everybody else is doing wrong, and I want to help them?
Yeah, I mean, I learned at an early age. I could always explain it better than I could do it. Which is such a bummer because there's so much more money in doing it than explaining it. Just ask my brother and his financial advisor. But for me, I mean, I was just really, really blessed to be around so many great quarterback coaches. And, this thing, Elite 11, some people have heard of it. But, I mean, it's a real thing. It's been around for 19 years. I ran into Tebow last night, and I've, seen him randomly the last couple of years. I was a college counselor when he was a high school kid. Stafford was the same year. Locker was the same year. Josh Freeman was the same year. You know what I mean? So, I've been around it for so long. I'm only 33, and I played for some really good coach. I mean, Mark Trestman, I know he's been fired a bunch, but, dude's a genius. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, he, took over in Canada. He can't lose in Canada.
No, but, I mean, what we were doing in Chicago is just he was a victim of a tough circumstance, but you're talking about, a brilliant mind of offense. We learned it from Bill Walsh. I played around so many good coaches, so many good players, so many bad coaches, and so many terrible players. And so I've just basically collected all of that stuff, and I can disseminate information really well. I think teaching is a gift of mine, and so I'm come from the right place. I really actually genuinely want to help these kids.
And it might be something just along the lines of instincts that you just see it that somebody else doesn't see it that way.
Yeah.
When you have those type of instincts, whether it be a 16-year-old quarterback or a 22-year-old quarterback, what are some of those things that stand out and tell you, wow, this guy could be really good in a few years?
Yeah, I genuinely think that quarterbacks are on. I look for quarterbacks that view themselves as entrepreneurs. So it sounds kind of crazy, but I had years where if I played well, I could make good money. If I played great, I could make great money. If everything went my way, I could make life-changing money. I also had 2 years where I made $0. So that's a lot like starting a business. And so when I meet young guys who identify themselves, not necessarily using the word entrepreneur, but they actually put everything into what they're doing. They actually think about how they treat people as a part of who they are, how they work, how they learn, how they are in the locker room, how they play as all the package, as opposed to trying to get really good at football and then being a completely different person elsewhere. So what I do is I'm just unavailable to those guys. But the guys that are all in, and guys that I've met at a young age, I have a kid who I met in 7th grade who, I don't want to, quarterback controversy, but he's going to start at USC next year as a true freshman. He'll probably have just as good or a better year than Sam Darnold had this year, and I think Sam's got a chance to go number 1. I met him in 7th grade, identified it really early, and he's the best high school quarterback I've ever seen. He skipped high school. He skipped his senior year, and he's going early to SC to start. And so seeing those things early on, there'll just be certain kids that I see, and I'm going, all right, I'm going to ride with you all the way through this. I met Deshaun Watson when he was 15, and I'm going to ride with him through 7 Super Bowls.
And Jordan Palmer with us now. When I see your name attached to a quarterback, I become more confident in that quarterback. Mm-hmm. We are a Jets affiliate.
Yeah.
Christian Hackenberg, one of the first calls he made out at Penn State was you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see in Hackenberg? Why isn't this kid on the field at all?
Yeah. I can't really speak to why he's not currently on the field or what's transpired in terms of him playing and all that stuff, but I can definitely speak to the kid. He's a kid who had one of the weirdest, probably the second weirdest college experience that I've seen. Kid I'm training right now, Kyle Allen, has the weirdest college experience I've ever seen from a really good player. With Christian Bill O'Brien getting exposed and getting so excited and and Bill had to go take that job. It was such a good opportunity. But to get kicked in the nuts the way that he did, and then to play there for 2 years, and I'll leave it at that. But that just was not a good situation for him.
Right.
And yet at the same time, he's a savior of the university, and he's the guy who said sanctions, I don't care. So he's so loyal. You know what I mean? He's the oldest of 4 boys, and so the reason he's stuck with Penn State instead of going to Bama or any of those other places was because I want to teach my little brothers about commitment, and so he's got all these like traits that you just can't train. It's just because his parents are amazing and his family's rad, So he's got that, and he looks the way you want him to look. I mean, look around. Drew Brees just walked by. Patrick Mahomes is sitting over there. Like, they don't look like Christian Hackenberg.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's a good-looking dude. 6'4", built, sick athlete, really good arm. And so I think what's happening is the last 3 years he's just growing up the same way that we all did, right? We all went and had our phase, and we had to, we were a little less mature than other people, and then we got more mature. And, we go through those phases. He's just done it with every single person in the room staring at him, and it's hard to do that. And so I was so excited that Josh McCown was going there because I played with Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's one of my best buddies. Love Ryan Fitzpatrick. But Josh McCown, in my opinion, he's my favorite professional athlete.
Wow.
Because I played with him for a year. I got to see how he works. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Case Keenum's my second.
But is Carson like even top 10?
He's my third.
All right.
So, but with Josh, it was like such a great opportunity because Josh is such an amazing man. He's such an amazing leader. A lot of the stuff that I do installing for the draft, even when I was training Christian, I stole from what Josh did. When I was sitting there at 9 o'clock at night in the season, I was backing Josh up when Cutler got hurt.
Right.
So I stole a lot of that stuff from Josh, how he prepares, how he thinks. So the fact that Christian got to go sit with that, and that Mike has been really patient, and Todd's been really patient with him. Christian genuinely doesn't care what everybody says. Same with Blake Bortles, which is why Blake was able to have the best game of his life when it mattered the most in the AFC Championship. And I think Christian is still a guy who's going to be a guy who's going to play in this league. And I'm really excited. This is the biggest offseason of his life. And he's going to get an opportunity, and I think he's going to be a kid who runs with it.
The Josh McCown on such a good statistical year for the Jets. What is his future? Does he still continue to want to play? Could you ever see him being a coach like yourself in the future?
I don't know. I could see him getting into ministry. He's so strong in his faith. He genuinely views football. His football career for him is his ministry, and so when you have that as your soul, as your North Star, guiding all of your decisions, and obviously he's got 4 kids, he's an amazing family man, and all that stuff. I could see him going that path, and either way, he's going to use it as his ministry. He's had a huge impact on my life, and so I don't know. I don't think he'll be a regular coach though. Same reasons, for the same reasons I'm not. I don't want to go be a quarterback coach or an offensive coordinator. I want to live in Dana Point and see my kids all the time, and I get to do that right now. So Josh, I could see him doing something along those lines.
Now, I'm sorry, I got to go back to Hackenberg for 1 second.
But by the way, I don't think Josh is done.
No.
Okay.
I think Josh to Cleveland, and then take one of those guys at number 1 is perfect situation. Now, I think they should totally have him back in New York too, but it just depends on. Kirk Cousins is sitting over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there's some opportunities. You got to let the dominoes fall. Josh will play next year if he wants to.
But isn't it like if Hackenberg really has it? Isn't that the perfect? And the Jets are going to be patient with him. Isn't that the perfect place to bring back McCown 1 more year?
Yeah.
Let him run. Let him be the mentor. Because I look at Hackenberg and I think he teases me all the time. Like, I'm not going to say he's out until he gets in.
Yeah.
And if he gets in, let's say this year, 6 games in the season, he goes in and he lights the league up. Everybody's going to forget about the years that he didn't make it.
Totally.
Can he? You worked with him. Is that am I just being hopeful for a guy I like and I think he got a bum rap, or does he really have that ability?
I think he's got that ability. Yeah. The Jets are going to have a tough spot, right? Because there's 3 amazing options on the table, right? Go with your second-round pick from 2 years ago and bring Josh. You got Cousins and some of these other guys that are an opportunity, and then you got a rich draft class. That's a tough spot, right?
Yeah.
And and Mike does not have the luxury of messing this one up because there's 3 good options, right? It's different than there's no good options, right?
Right.
There's 3 good options, and again, I don't, I'll steer clear of all the GM stuff, but that's a tough spot to be in, and so you got to go with you're gonna have to, I don't know how Mike's going to make that decision, and ownership's going to make that decision, because there's 3 great options on the table. And the reality is if you have a second-round pick who ends up being a great backup that you can trade down the road, we just saw it with Jimmy Garoppolo, then Christian, everything's still in front of Christian. It just depends on which route the Jets go.
Jordan Palmer, I could talk quarterbacks with you all day, man. We have an Arena League team, the Empire. You're only 33. You want to come sling it in Albany?
I'm all good, man.
Come on, please.
All good, man. I will say this, though. I signed with the Arizona Rattlers after I got cut from the Redskins. And so I went and I worked out for like 5 arena teams. It is so fun. Yeah. I would go do those workouts. It's just so different. It's like footwork's irrelevant. Like, you don't read anything. It was so fun. And I got a kid I trained last year with Deshaun. His name's Mike Faithful. And he's working out for arena teams right now. They should call him because he's going to be a G. But Mike's doing all the workouts, and we were vibing on it because we were like, it's so fun. And I signed with the Arizona Rattlers, and then 2 days before I left for training camp, the Bengals called me. So I gone out, and I was working out with this receiver. I don't remember his name, but he was like a stud receiver in the AFL, and he was like MVP. And I was like, dude, how do I learn the game? I want to start right away. I don't want to like sit on the bench. He goes, honestly, man, a couple years ago, this was a long time ago, and he said a couple years ago, EA Sports came out with a game 1 year, arena football. He goes, just play the game and learn it. So I was playing arena football from EA Sports. I had to go buy a PlayStation 1. And I was sitting there playing it, and that's how I learned the game. And it was just like, fun to talk about now, like, right. Sketchy. I sound like a deal for like $27,000 for the year, But it was just one of those things that was super fun, and but I guess they're like folding though, right? They only have a couple teams now.
No, they're all in. They have 4 teams right now.
4 teams.
They'll have 6 by next year. Cleveland's redoing their arena. They'll figure that out. I've asked the same question every time Jaworski sits across from me, and no. He'll just buy more teams. That way he always gets a ring.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. There's one way to do it, right? Yeah.
Jordan Palmer, thank you, man. We appreciate you so much. And anytime you ever want to talk quarterbacks,
yeah, I love it.
I'll pick your brain for hours.
That's awesome. Yeah, love it. Thanks, guys.